Started the record. Okay, so are you done with I think hope you are done with the installation, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So before starting, right, with our actual things into the UiPath,
Mm-hmm.
any in general question, maybe, or any like clarification you need, basically. I think you people already did some research from your end related to the RPA, right? But
Hmm.
any specific questions or doubt, or can we start directly?
Um, I'm not sure about Aman, but to me, I mean, so let's start. I mean, it's whatever you have designed the
Oh,
curriculum, and let's follow that. And yeah,
okay,
the most we want. I mean, we have a little bit exposure. I mean, I have a little bit exposure since I have passed my exam and I have worked on two process. But I mean, there are a lot of things which makes it.
correct, correct. Right, right. Okay, no worries. So we can have a start, right? So let me share my screen
Mhm.
and we can start. Okay. So you already installed UiPath. Hope you have created a shortcut as well, right? Either you can create a shortcut on desktop or we can create a shortcut on Task Manager as well, right?
Mhm.
So so that we no need to go and search each and every time.
Well,
Just a second. Okay. So now this I open the UiPath and this is basically the home page. Okay. Home page of the UiPath Studio, right? So UiPath having three components basically, like UiPath Studio, UiPath Orchestrator, and UiPath Assistant or robot, we can say, right? So what we will do first, we'll start with the Studio. Okay, so we'll start with building our automations, and then we'll go to the cloud or we'll see the assistant as well, right? So first thing, we can start with our uh, Studio. So now you can see here, right? Maybe you said you already exposure, right? But I will just tell in very high level. So if you want to open any existing project, right? So we can go here, right? We can give the path, and then we'll be able to open it, right? Then here we can see the recent projects, right? What are the projects we have opened recently? We can see here, right? Then if you want to create new project, new process, or if you want to create any framework, right? So all those things are available. So first thing, we'll start with the new process. Okay. So just click on the new process, right? And what you can do, uh, see, this is our just day one. Okay.
right.
So on the first day, I will try to you people make just familiar with the tool and basic things, including some variable conditions and all, right? Uh, and from the next session, right? From the next session, we'll start building the end-to-end automation. Okay, like based on the applications, right? But this is just first day, right? So we'll just get familiar with those things, or maybe we can say, for you people, it can be revision, right? If you know already, right? And whatever we are going to cover for day one, okay, it's not a real automation, basically, right? This is just want to make familiar with the tool and
Hmm.
few concepts. That's it. Okay, but this is not a real automation. So here will not give any process name. So we'll just mention day one process. Okay. Here we can give the process name, and then here we have the location where we can save our processes or project. Right. So what you can do, you can create a one separate folder. Okay, so suppose I have created a separate folder, right? For example, UiPath sessions. Okay, uh, where I will have like day one, day two, separate folder each and every day, right? So what will happen? You will have the reference separately for each and every one, right? So it will be better. Day one, right? So whatever we are going to see for the day one, you can store into the day one. Maybe if you want to give the date or something, you can give it, right? So I will give this reference. Do not save anything on download, desktop, documents, right? Or C drive. It right? Save into another drive, because in case your OS got corrupted, or sometimes while cleaning the desktop or downloads, right? We can clean each and everything. So just for safe side, create a folder into any of the drive and save it. So this is my day one, right? So I have selected it and click on the create. Once I click on the create, it will create your process, and it will take some time basically to create that process. Why it will take some time? Because in the background, right, it will load a lot of dependency file and all the things, right? And maybe you people already aware, this tool has been built on a .NET platform, okay? So which is very similar to our operating system, right? Microsoft operating system, right? So here you can see the look and feel wise, uh, like any keyboard shortcuts, copy, paste, delete, cut, right? So you can use very similar. Also from the menu, right? Save as, all those, right? So it will look very similar, right? So once I create my process, right? Here we can see our new process has created, and this is the main, okay, where we have to build our automation, or this is our play area, right, where we are going to build automation, right? Then on the top side, we can see we are having different types of menu options are available, right? We'll see those options time to time whenever we require, right? Most important, on the left hand side, right? This is the activity panel. Okay, so this is the activity panel where we have to use those activities and build the automation, build automation, right? So each and every activity we have to use on a our requirement basis, right? So we'll see those things one, right? So now, as I said, this is just day one. We are not going to build any end-to-end automation. Just will take small problem statement. Okay. So suppose when we are learning something in terms of software, right, any language or any technology, right, what will be our first problem statement we are learning? Any idea?
What's the format for it?
Sorry.
When we're learning new language, you say, right?
Yes. So we
Yeah,
are
I
seeing
would
the
say.
print hello world, right?
Oh, okay. You mean like what would be the step? I see. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
So print
I thought
hello
what
world.
would be the first question pop in my head. I'll say what would be the format of it.
So print or display hello world, right?
Mm,
So that is the first problem statement. Like we are learning, if whenever we are learning anything, C++, Java, right?
mm,
So here also we'll see the same problem statement, hello world, right? So what is my problem statement? Like I
hello
want to
world.
print or I want to display the hello. So what is input? Hello world is my input, and I
Mm-hmm,
need something to display on the screen, right? So I can
mm-hmm,
provide this hello world and it can display, right? So suppose if you want to do this in any of the languages, right? Whatever we discuss, C, Java, Python, or anything, right? What we
mm-hmm,
have to do? We have to write a line of code,
mm-hmm,
correct? Or we have to write some functions, and then we'll
mm-hmm,
be able to do this, right? But that is not the case with this RPA tools, right? Here, those functions are already created in terms of activity here, right? So
mm-hmm,
what we can do? We can take those activities and we can build our automation, right? So we'll see how to do this, right? So first thing, we have to start with the flow chart. Okay, so this is the activity panel, right? And in the activity panel, I have searched the flow chart, right? We can drag and drop. So you can see how can we do that? Here it is mentioned drop activity. So we can just drag and drop. I drop, right? And what it is saying, double click to do. So everything is self-explanatory. Why we are taking a flowchart? So in our day-to-day life, right? What do you mean by flowchart? Flowchart means it's a sequential steps. It will leads to meaningful actions, right? Or it will leads to meaningful output, basically, right? So I have taken the flowchart. Now we'll take small problem statement for today, right? So we'll not build separate process project, right? Unnecessary, it will eat up your memory, system memory. Also, it will eat up our time as well, right? So what we'll do in the same process, will build those small statements, right? So we have taken flowchart. Flowchart, we have this starting point and end point, or the steps we have to define, right? So first I will take a sequence. Okay. So what do you mean by sequence, right? So I will take a sequence. So sequence is a container where we can add multiple activities or n number of activities basically into the sequence. Okay. So we can bunch a group of activities basically into the sequence, right? Whenever if there is any error, okay, whenever if there is any error, here it will show like this red color circle, right? Within that we can see white color exclamatory sign, right? So it means we got error. So if you want to see what is the error, we can go here and we can over the mouse, right? What it is saying, flowchart does not have a start node. It means we haven't given any start point to the flowchart, right? So how can we give the start point, right? So you can see when we are over the mouse here, we can see 4 connectors, top, bottom, left, right. So what we can do, we can connect any of the connector to the C, right? This is the first way. There is another way. I will delete it. Click, press the delete button. It will get deleted. Go to the sequence and just mention right click. Just do the right click and select the last option. Set as a start. Set as a start. So I'm able to connect it, right? And now double click. Okay, now we are inside the sequence and we will build this problem statement. So we have to display the hello world. So if you want to display hello world, we need something, right? So if you want to display something right on the screen, we have to use a message box. Message box. Drag and drop. Okay. Then what this message box saying here? Input value or text was not supplied. So how can we supply here? We have to supply here, and it is saying it must be in a quoted. So we can go here, double quote, and hello world, and click outside. If you click outside, whatever the errors are there, it will go away, right? Then you can see this is small star here or asterisk, right? It means you did some changes, but you did not save. So we have to save it. How can we save it? Go here, second option, just click on the save. As soon as you click on the save, that star or asterisk will get vanished, right? Now we build, but we have to see it is working perfectly or not, right? So how can we do that? We can execute it or we can run it and see, right? So you can see this run button. It is called as a run. Okay, just click time being, just click on it. If you click on it, our execution will get started. Okay, so you can see it is compiling that activity and the execution will start. Now you can see it is starting, right? And it has given the message hello world, right? So whatever the input we have given, it will display, right? Click on the OK button. So as soon as we click on the OK button, our automation stop. And in the output, if you go into the output, it's like a console basically. Okay, in other language, it's called as a console, where it will give all the information like it started, ended, how much time it has taken. If there is any error, it will display the error, right? So all the things or warnings, it will show you into the output, right? So if you click, it will get expanded, right? If you click here, it will get collapsed, right? So in this way, we are able to complete our first problem step. Okay, so you also go ahead, try this. Don't do anything simultaneously. Just see what I'm doing, right? And then you have to go, right? So please do this, or in case any question, doubt, please ask.
Yeah, so a workflow sequence, is that the pattern we are always going to use?
Okay, so here, right, we are
Mm-hmm.
always going to use because we have to follow the best practices. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but again, this is not thumb rule. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is not thumb rule because we haven't started our framework, right? But if you go
Mm-hmm.
to the framework level, right, we have to do something different. But time being, okay, time being, you can consider yes.
I see.
Okay, so please try and let me know in case of any error, any problem. And if you are done, maybe you can post a message into the chat box, or you can take.
Yeah, so another question I have, the sequence, it's like a smaller class, or is it like so you know how in C# we make different classes to do different things? Is that how we'll do the same thing here?
Correct.
So each sequence itself is a, well, let's say mini class that executes some kind of function
Correct.
and returns the things. Okay.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Okay. So please go
Thank you.
ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think we can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Sabir, like, let me know once you're done.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
we can continue.
Okay. Perfect. So, as I said, in today's session, right, we'll take only smaller problem statement and within the same flow chart or same process, right? So if you take all the sequence, right, so everywhere you can see the sequence, right? So we can give some meaningful name to it, right? So if you if you click on any of the activity or action, right, you can see the properties, okay, whatever the associate properties are related to that particular activity, right? So here it's a display name, so we can change it, right? So I will mention hello world, okay, so that what will happen, we can rename to that particular sequence, right, based on our requirement. Okay? Now we'll go ahead for the second problem. So what is the second problem statement, right? I want to welcome to user. Okay, welcome to user. So what is the first step I need? Uh,
Input.
will take input from the user. Okay,
Mhm.
input from the user. So we'll take as a username. Okay. After that, I want to welcome to that user, right? How I want to welcome? Like I want to display the message, welcome to RPA Word. Okay, RPA Word, right? And then whatever the username the user is going to enter here, for example, username, right? Will give it. Okay, so now it's username. So it will take for username, right? Tomorrow or maybe in the next runtime, if this name is different, right? So accordingly, it will get added, right? So this is our problem. Clear? Now we will build it, right? So I'm going to take this sequence, right? I have taken this sequence. Now we want to run this, right? This sequence. So this start node should be connected to this sequence. So I will mention as a start node, right? Until and unless it's not connected, it will run only the hello by default. We'll rename this, okay? So we can mention welcome user, right? Now whatever the problem statement will take, right? So at least 50% or 60% we have already taken. So we should be aware. So for this we are already aware, right? Second step, but we don't know about this step, right? We can consider. So now we have to take the input from the user. So how to take the input from the user? We have input dialog. Okay, input dialog, right? And here all the activities are meaningful. No need to be worried about it, right? As soon as you do the practice, right, it you people will get reward, right? So input dialog, drag it. So I did drag it. Okay. Now I will save this, right? And here we have to provide dialog title, label as well, right? So I can go here and I will display the title. Basically, enter username, or we can mention please enter user, right? And this is a label. Okay, here label I can mention username. Okay, save. And now I want to display this message. Which message I want to display? Uh, Welcome to RPA, right? This message I want to display. Welcome to RPA. So if you want to display something, we have to use a display. Okay, message box. So here we welcome to RPA, right? Okay, welcome to RPA. Now it is not yet completed, but we'll just run. Click on the save. It will get saved. We can run. Now you can see whatever the title we have given here, right? This is the title and this is the label. This is not mandatory, right? But it's good to have. Otherwise, if pop-up is coming in front of us, right, and it don't have any thing mentioned, right, we'll not understand what action we have to perform. So here I will mention test use. Okay, right? Now it is displaying this message, welcome to RPA. Okay, so we already have given that test user. Then why it is not displaying here? Any idea?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So what was my question? So in the first step, right, input dialog, we have given the input, right? We have entered. And here we are welcoming to that particular user. So why that username is not available into this message box?
Input label, welcome username. It didn't do
Because,
something differently?
yeah. So because we did not save that user, right? So far. So what we have to do? We have to save that name, right? And then we have to give the reference here, right, into the message box. Correct?
Oh, I see. Because mine was
Right?
showing up because I already made a variable for it.
Ha, ha.
And I'm like,
Okay.
what's going on? Huh, that's dumb for me.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what we have to do? We need a variable.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? We need a variable to store this. So how to create a variable? There are two ways. So first we'll see first way, and in the next example we'll say the second. So go to the variables here, right? And it is mentioned as a create variable. So we can give the variable name. So variable name can be anything, right? But we should give some appropriate naming convention, okay, so that uh, we can understand, right? If there are 10 variables, 5 variables, right? We should understand why this variable is there, right? So we can give some meaningful like where username, for example, right? Where user, right? We have created. Now we have to give the reference of that where username to the input dialog. How can we give the reference? Go to this, click on this input dialog, go to the output, and can you see the result, right? Go to the result and just type the initial letter of your variable. So what is this var, right? V. Can you see this var username? Enter.
Mm-hmm.
So it will get associated, okay, to this. So whatever input we are going to take from the user, it will get saved into this variable. And now here we have to give the reference, right? So how can we give the reference? Plus, then type the initial of variable, right? We have given the plus sign for the concatenation purpose, right? Now we can run. Okay, so it is asking this, right? So I will mention test use, test. So it will mention welcome to RPA test, but it does not look good, right? There is no space between word test user, something like that, right? So what we can do, we can go here and we can give some space here. So we can give any special character, doesn't, right? You can run one second. Okay, so now I will give another user, demo user. Okay. Can you see now? It looks good, right? And it is taking that value dynamically, right? So basically, if you want to store any data, we need a variable, right? So what variable will do? It will store the data, right? Or it will store the information, right? So that this is the purpose of variable. I think you people already aware, but just want to inform, right? So that is the reason here we have created a variable, right, to store that username, and then we have given the reference of that variable. Okay, clear? All right. So, Sabi, let me know in case any question.
So the since we didn't have anything to store the value entered, the pop-up didn't show up whatsoever. But that isn't generally the case in most programming language. Why is it the case here?
I did not get exactly, Aman.
So inside value entered, right? If we don't have anything, the input dialog box just don't show up.
Means you are saying it is not giving any error?
No, no, I'm saying it just doesn't show up, right? If you just remove that, right? And try to run it.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta
Then
take that. Yeah, you gotta remove that too.
uh, hmm. So now we can run.
Yeah. So it's just gonna go directly to message box, right?
No. It will go to the input dialog.
It didn't show up before.
See?
Oh, it did. Huh. I guess I missed it. I'm sorry.
No. See, test user, right?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
then it
yeah.
will. Only thing
I
it
see.
will not display any error or
Hmm.
warning because this is logical thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For logical thing, like no tool or no technology will show the error,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, I'm done with that too.
Okay. Savvy from your end.
Yeah, let me share my screen and I
Okay.
think the host has disabled. So can you enable screen?
Yes. Please go.
Okay, so here is my studio. Like
Yes, I can see.
I'm feeling kind of like it's coming over here as I did like the flow chart and it's coming like in this shape. How could I make the shape the way it looks on your UA?
Uh, So you are saying like it is like this output or something. It is going here and there, or
Yeah,
No, he's saying how to maximize it, the
yeah,
this one.
sequence.
how to maximize this? Yeah.
You see how a sequence is all s small?
Correct. So
Yeah.
you can see this is small, right? So in an okay, so it will open, right? So recently, whatever the update we have get, right, on this, right? So here we can see the sequence like this only.
Hmm.
Okay. So
I
we
see.
we we can't change this one. Only thing I think you are just done with this okay message. Okay, you use the log message, right?
Oh, yeah, that was also I think.
Okay, that's fine. So try the second problem statement that
Okay.
okay let me share my screen.
Yeah, what's the log message? I mean, what's the difference between log message and
Yes,
message?
we'll see that. We'll
Log
see that.
message, I think it comes over here.
It's a debug thing. I see.
Yes, so
Yes.
it's gonna be over here.
Hmm.
We'll take that as well. Okay, we'll show you the difference between message box and log message.
Hmm.
Yeah, so what we were doing, we were selecting the sequence.
Yes. So what we did here, right? I have selected this sequence. Okay. I have given the name as a welcome user, and here, like I have taken the input dialog box so that I can take the input from the user, right? Then here I have given dialog title, label. Then whatever the value we are taking from the user, right? We are saving into the variable. So in the variable section, I have created this variable var underscore user, right? And
Right.
that same reference we have given here.
Right.
And then we are displaying it welcome to our paper and then variable.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Let's move to the next step. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. So if you need time, let me know. Okay, it is not necessary like uh, we have to move immediately, Sabi. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we can go to the next problem step. Okay. Suppose I want to do the addition of two numbers, right? So we'll go here and we have to do addition of two numbers, right? So
Hmm.
what we have to do, right? We have to take two numbers from the user, right? then we have to do the addition, and then third step is we have to display the result. Display result. Okay. So in that case, right, how many variables do we require?
3.
3 variables, right? So 2 variables will be used to take the 2 inputs, right? Third variable where we have to save this output addition, and then we can display the result, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go here, sequence, right? And here we can rename it like addition. Okay. So now we have to take the input from the user, right? So if you want to take the input from the user, we have to use an input dialog, right? So we'll use a 2 input dialog, basically, right? And I will give the name here, enter number 1. Okay. And here we'll give it as a number 1. Okay. Similarly, here we'll mention, please enter number. Okay. Here I can mention number, right? So previously we have seen how to create a variable, right? First method. So we have created the variable from variable panel, right? But there is another way to create a variable, right? So what is another way? Go to the input dialog, right? This go to the output, and here we can press Control K. Okay, Control K, right? So you can see the small pop-up set variable, right? So here we can do var n1, for example, right? Var n1, right? Then I have created that. We'll go here, right? Control K, var n2, right? So we have created 2 variables, right? And you can see those variables into the variable panel as well, right? Var n1, var n2, right? Now the next thing is we have to do the addition of 2 numbers, right? So if you want to do any kind of calculation, manipulation, right? We have to use a assign. Okay, assign. So this assign will work on the basis of like from and to. Okay, from and to. So here it will be the value to save means right which value we want to save, and this is where you want to save. Okay, so here save to value to. So Control K. Here also you can do Control K. Where sum I can mention. Okay, and if you want to do the addition, how can we mention? Var n1 plus var n. That's it, right? And what is the last step? We have to display the result, right? So I will use a display message. Display message. Okay. So here I can give var sum. Right?
So wouldn't it show up? I'm sorry, go ahead.
We can. Now it will ask for number 1, number 2, and then it will show the addition, right? So I will enter number maybe 7, 9, right? So you can see it is not okay, it is showing it. So it is showing 79, right? So any
Mhm.
reason why it is showing 79 instead of 18?
Because variables are declared as strings
Correct,
automatically instead of ints.
correct, right? So what happened when we have created the variable, right? Initially, right? By default, it got created as a string, right? So we are having different types of variables, right? Based on the data. So first variable string, right? So in string we can store A, B, C alphabets, group of alphabets, right? But at a time we can store only one value, right? At a time we can store only one value. Second variable type is the integer, basically, right? Where we can store 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So now number means integer, right? Number means integer. So now what we have to do? We have to go to the variable section, and from the variable section we have to select in 32. In 32. Okay, enter, right? And now we can save and run and see how it is working. So now it should work perfectly, right? So here we have seen how to create a variable by using control, right? So which method is good? The previous method is good or this method is
Both are.
good? Okay, both. So we can see 16, right? So now it is working. So basically, the best method is to create the variable from this activity itself. Okay. So why? There are two reasons. The first reason is sometimes what happen, like people will create the variable here, right? But will forget to give the reference, right? Then will face error or issue, right? But this is very minor thing. But the major point is if you create the variable here, right? Based on the activity, it will create a variable type also. Okay. So then you will say why it is not creating now, right? Because input dialog supports string and integer as well, right? But there are other activities, very specific, right? Where based on the activity, it will create variable type. Okay, so that is the advantage if you create a variable through control. Okay, then the second thing here we have just given where sum, right? But I want to mention like this addition of two numbers is right. And now you can see here, right? Sorry. Okay, you can see here it will give the error, right? It is giving the error. So why it is giving the error? You can go and see it, right? So here this is basically string, right? It's double quote, it means it's a string, and this is a integer, right? In previous example, it did not show error message, right? So here we are trying to display string along with the integer, right? So that is the reason it is giving error. So if you want to overcome this, right, we have to use some VB functions here, right? So a lot of VB functions being used here. So we'll mention dot toast. See, dot toast.
I think that's the old version problem. New version doesn't give the problem.
Okay, so it is not giving error.
No, it
Okay,
automatically
so,
concatenated it into a string.
so have you changed this variable type and all?
Yeah, all of them are in 32.
Oh, okay, okay, perfect then.
Wait,
Not
I
a
could be
problem.
wrong. Are you getting the problem as well? Or did you not get the problem?
To whom? Sabi?
Sabi, yeah.
No, I'm not following like right now why this like he's teaching, so I'm just looking at what he's.
No.
So I'm not doing.
Oh, so maybe you,
So
you
yeah,
want to show Aman just for a moment
yeah, sure.
if
Let me
you're
show.
fine.
I mean, if Sabi wants to recreate, that would be great. I mean, I can follow along too. I can share my screen too. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Uh, I can share. Let me share.
yeah. No, if you're comfortable, otherwise that's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't have a preference. You see,
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect then. Okay, huh.
yeah, it
Okay, so
just
all are integer. Okay, great,
yeah.
great, great. No.
Where is
Okay,
my?
because see, everyone like we are using this community edition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens like UiPath or like this is strategy from all the service providers base or from all the tools. Like if
Mm-hmm.
something is new, right, they will put into the community edition. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they found any issue, challenges, they will fix it, right? And if that functionality is really working great or it is really giving value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they will go for enterprise version actually. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can see continuous updates on the community edition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and day by day the tools are getting more mature. Okay, also they are adding more AI and all those capabilities, right? So everything will be taken care by the tool itself. Is most of the things fine? So clear this.
Yeah.
Okay, then the next thing now we have used this input dialog. Here also we have input dialog, right? So just imagine like most of these automations will run in a unattended mode. Okay, unattended. So what do you mean by unattended? It means it will run in the background where we'll not have any human intervention or will not have any human supervision when the automation is running, right? Just imagine when running this automation, right? When it fails, right? It will show like I have failed on the input dialog box and this is it, right? So here we can see like we are having two input dialog box or maybe more than that, right? Then it will show for input dialog. Then we have to figure it out which input dialog, first, second, or last, right? So the what is the best practice? What we can do? Uh, we can add the annotations as well. We can add the proper naming conventions to the our activities as well. That is the best practice, right? So we can go here and we can mention like input dialog box for number one, right? Also from the debugging point of view, right? Enhancement point of view, right? Those things will be helpful. Or tomorrow, if someone going to see your steps, right? The people can easily understand. So you can see this number one, number two, right? This is a sign, right? So here we can mention sum or addition, right? So it will give the appropriate thing like I'm getting either that assign sum, okay? So we can figure it out easy. In addition to that, each and every activity, right? If you right click, here we can add annotations as well, right? So if you want to add anything like comment, we have comment also, but very similar to that, like this input box, right? Will take first number from the user, right? So we will have all such type of annotations or comments as well, right? So that it will help, right, to not only you but others as well, or maybe if there any enhancement, any logic change will happen, right? So it will help to understand like where it will be we have to do this, right? So this annotations and changing this activity name, right? So this is the best practice that we can follow from beginning this. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now we'll go to the next problem statement, right? Where what I want to do, I want to uh, find a greater number, greater, right? So what is the first thing? We have to take the two numbers from the user, right? The very similar. Then want to find out the greater number, greater or smaller number. And then third is display the result, display the result, right? So now what we'll do again, we'll go here, we'll take sequence, okay, and we'll give the name, right? For example, compare number or whatever, greater, right? We'll go. Then we have to take the two number from the user. Then what we can do, maybe I can copy the same, right? Control C, we can go here, Control V, right? So this is number one, this is number two. So here it is giving the error. It is not declared, right? So now you can see, right? We have this variable here, right? We have created here, right? In addition, but here it is showing like the variable is not created. So any reason why it is showing this message?
Scope. It's probably the variable itself is just assigned to the scope of that sequence instead of the entire flow. That's why you're not able to access it.
So here, if you go right, so we have created this var n1 and n2, right? So you can see the scope, right? So what is the scope? Addition, right? The scope means is the boundaries, right? In between we can access that variable, right? So here it is addition, right? Scope. But if you want to use outside addition, for example, right? So we can increase the scope also, right? If required, right? So here we can select as a flowchart. If we select the flowchart, right? Then what will happen? Whatever the errors are there, those are vanished, right? Because we can now access that variable. We have increased the scope. So scope means the boundaries, right? For that particular variable. In between we can access. Right? Now we have to find out which one is greater number or smaller number. How can we do this?
If statement.
Okay, if statement, right? Means basically here we have to do the comparison, right? We have to do the comparison, right? So how can we compare, right? Any decision, or here we have to take the decision, right? So for the decision purpose, we can use this if. We can take this if. I have taken the if, right? So if having three sections, condition, then else. What do you mean by condition, right? Condition means now we have to find out greater number. So how can we give where n1 greater than where n, right? I have written this expression, right? Someone can written in a different way as well, like where n1 less than where n2, or someone can write where n2 greater than where n1, right? So this is logic. Everyone have different logic, right? So that's fine. But accordingly, right, the change will happen into the then and else. Okay, that we have to make sure. So if this condition is true, right? Which number is greater?
Number.
Number one is greater, right?
Yeah.
So here we can mention number one is greater. Here we can mention number two is greater, right? Here I can mention now one is greater, all right? And then here, okay, I can mention number two is greater, okay, right? So we can okay. So here we can mention 5. Here we can mention 10, right? It will give n2 is greater. Similar way, if you're giving n1 greater, it will say n1 is greater, right? So this is about when the both the numbers are different. What will happen if both the numbers are equal, right? Where the flow will go? Either it will go to the then or it will go to the else. Where it will go? Any idea? Maybe Aman or Sabi.
No, not really. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. So what will happen? Suppose if you are taking both the numbers equal, right? So first number is 5, second number is 5, right? So condition will false, right? 5 greater than 5, what will happen? It will be false, right? So if
Mhm.
it's false, it will go to the else and it will say n2 is greater, right? So if you want to see, we can run and see. Okay. So this is, we can say 5. Here we can say 5, right? See, it will say n2 is greater. Why it is showing? Because the condition is false. And when the condition is false, right, it will go to the else, right? So few people will say like here we can give this condition like greater than or equal, right? But even though if you do this, what will happen, right? It will go to here or it's, and then we have to mention here n2 is a greater or equal. Okay, n2 is a greater or equal, right? But I
No,
need
wait, why would it
one
go
more.
to else if
Sorry.
it's why would it go to else if it's n1 is greater or equal to n2?
Yeah, because condition is C. So okay,
So
okay.
if one
So
equal
where
one,
it
right? That's true. Then wouldn't it go to m1
hmm,
is greater?
so we'll see. Yeah, you are right. Hmm. So let's run. So what will happen? Give 5. Okay. See, it will show. Yeah, yeah, now one is right.
Mm-hmm.
So it will not give the appropriate output. So here what we have to do? We have to mention n1 is greater or n1 and
Uh,
n2 both are equal, basically,
mm,
right? But From here, we are not able to conclude, right? It's equal or greater, basically, right? So what we can do, instead of giving this thing here, right? We can add one more condition within a condition. Okay, it is called as a nested condition, right?
Mm.
So if we have multiple conditions, basically, right? Then I will use one more, okay, into the else. Okay, because if the condition is false, it will go here. So here I will check where n1 is equal to where n2, right? If this condition is true, it means both the number are equal. Okay, this one
Mm.
here, right? N1 and n2 are equal, right? N1 and n2 are equal, right? And if this condition is false, right, it means n2 is a greater, right? So we have a perfect findings like which one is greater, which one is equal, basically, right? So now we can run. So here n1 is, for example, 10, right? N2 is 10. See, it will show n1 and n2 are equal, right? Similar way, if it's greater, n2 is greater, it will show n2 is a greater accordingly, right? So what we did here, we have added condition within a condition, and it is called as a nested condition. Okay,
Mhm.
so you want to try, or so you are trying from a non-savvy, or shall we move?
I think shall we, yeah, we can move. I'm probably gonna find follow the video. So in that way, I don't wanna hold the time.
Okay. But so this is for a day one, so that is fine, savvy, okay. But maybe from next session you have to perform, okay? Because what happens now normally, it looks very easy, okay, but when we work on it, right, or when we do this, then we'll get a lot of errors, lot of problems, all those things, okay.
Right.
So that is the reason I'm saying. Okay, so shall we go ahead, Aman, or
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, right. So this is about, right, then we'll go to the next problem, okay. So what is my next problem statement? Find out the leap base. Okay. So why I want to find out the leap year basically, right? So first thing, we'll take year as input, right? Then second, we'll find its leap year, right? So if it's a leap year, right? If it's a leap year, right? Then we can mention it's a leap. Okay. If yes, okay. If no, then what we have to do, right? We'll mention it's not a leap year, okay? And then we can mention,
Mm.
please, okay, enter the year again, right? So now what should happen? If it's a leap year, then process should stop, okay? Process should stop. But if it's not a leap year, right? Then again process should move to step number, right? Clear? Problem statement.
Mhm.
Now what we'll do, will not do it here, right? Because this is little bigger problem statement. So for that, we'll create a separate process. Okay. So we'll go here, process, right? And now we can give the name like leap year, leap. And then here we can give the description, right? So we can give the description like this process finds the leap year or something like that, right? And then we can save into the specific folder. Okay, click on the 3. Right? So now what we will do here, will not use a sequence basic, right? So why will not use sequence here, right? That also I will explain. Okay, and here also we have to take a decision, right? We have to take a decision like it's a leap year or not, right? So as usual, as I said, we'll take a flow chart. Okay, so I have taken this flow, right? Now the next thing is we have to take the year from the user, right? So what we will use input type, input, right? I will use this directly, input type, right? And here we can provide all the things. Like here, please enter year, right? Label, maybe I can take year, right? And we can create a variable. Control K, where, right? Year, and it should be a string. Sorry, it should be integer. By default, it's a string, right? So I will make it as a int. Now we have taken the year from the user. Now we have to find out it's a leap year or not, right? So we have to take some decision, right? We can do with the SEEP also, right? But here I want to show one more thing. That is the reason I'm not going to use if, right? So I will use a flow decision. Flow decision. Flow decision is also work very similar to the if, right? But here we have some additional feature, right? And as I said, we will not use a sequence here. Why? Because because this flow chart, flow switch, right? It will not work or will not able to add into the sequence, right? Suppose if there is a sequence, because those activities can be used inside flowchart directly. So I have taken a sequence, right? And now I'm trying to add flow decision. Okay, so you can see it will not allow to add. Okay, so we are not using this one, right? And you can see this flow decision. Okay, and here we can see true and false, right? If then we have to do the condition. In if we have then and else, right? Similar way here we have true and false. So here we have to go to the condition, right? So how we are finding a leap year, right? So if mod 4 is equal to 0, right? Simple, we can make it simple, right? Then we will call it as a leap year, right? So the same expression we can write. So how can we write year? Mod 4 is equal to 0, right? Year mod is 4 is equal to 0. It means it's a leap year. Okay. This thing. Okay. If function error argument not specified date value of the public year as an integer. Change all the things multiple times. I don't know why it's not working.
Where are you getting the year from?
Sorry? Year here from here. Okay, where year, right? Okay. So our variable name is a where year. I'm
Yeah.
just typing the year. Okay. So where year, right?
Mm.
Then mod 4 is equal to 0, right? Where
Mm.
year mod 4 is equal to 0, right? So if this condition is true, it means it's a leap year. If the condition is false, means it's not a leap year, and then we have to go back to the step number 2, right? So here I will use message box as well as log message as well, right? So you can see the difference between log message and message box. So this is log message, log message, right? So this is my log message, okay? So if you go to this log message, right, here we have to give the message, right? What is the message? It's a lead. Okay. And here the log label. Okay. The log label, we have to select it as a info or error warning or tracing purpose, right? Because these logs will get added into the orchestrator when your process is running, right? So based on your need, based on the purpose, we have to select it. Right here, we are just using for information purpose. So I will select the log label as a information purpose, right?
Mm.
Now, if the condition is false, I will use a message. Okay, message. So go here, and here I will mention this one. It's not a leap year, right? Please enter the year. Okay. Now what should happen? It should jump back to the this step, right? So very simple. Here we can see the nodes, right? We have the nodes, so we can connect directly to this, right? So what will happen if the condition is false? It will go here. If the condition is true, it will go to the log message, right? So I will run this. So it is showing year, right? So I can go here and I can enter maybe 2001, right? It is showing it's not a leap year. Please enter the year again. Now I will mention 2004, right? Then you can see process stop because it's a leap year, right? But you can see the difference between message box and log message. The message box will come in the foreground, right? But the log message will write into the console or output. See, it's a leap year. Here it goes. Okay. So the log message will write into the output or console, and the message box will directly display on the screen. So this is the difference between message box and log. And the best practice is use the log message rather than a message box, right? Because as I said, like most of the automation, 90% automations, right, will be in a unattended mode, right? So if there is an unattended mode and if you are getting message box, right, until and unless you are not clicking on OK, it will not move forward. Or we don't require any message box basically. Clear?
Mm. Yes.
So right, Aman, the
So,
difference between message box and log message, right?
yeah, but I do have a question about flow decision.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to do this with an if statement, how would I do that?
So
Or
you will
can we do this with a if statement?
no.
Mm. So if statement is just a comparison. We can't put complex
Correct,
equations
correct.
in it like we do in other programming languages.
Because see, other programming language, what happens? We are writing a line of code, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, 1, 2, 3, right? And suppose if you want to move from step number three to step number 1, or maybe step number 3 to step number 2, right? There will have jump statement, or we have
Mm-hmm.
go to statements, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can give, and then we can give the jump to the step number 2 or jump to the step number, right? So we can give directly because there we have liberty, right? But
Mm-hmm.
such type of liberty we don't have, right? Because here the functions are already created, and like mostly it's a like low code no code platform, right? So those tweaks we have to do it based on the requirement.
I see. Okay, let's say number
Yeah,
one.
yeah, sure, you can try.
No, I'm trying to use a sign to do this. Number one, two. Mm-hmm. Cannot convert type any pull into bool. Okay. Oh wait, equal true. RPA. No. Oh, I see why it's better to do with the flow, because if you're going back to repeat it, it's better to do with the flow.
Hmm.
I see. Hmm. I see. So I did with the. So this is what I did. Give me 1 second. Can I share my
Okay.
screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let me know when you see it. Okay, don't mind my language in it. I was just
Mhm.
typing it
Yeah, we
fast.
can do that, but then we have to do a lot of tweaks basically. Okay.
Yeah, like
Then,
this, right?
then
Do a
correct,
sign, then check. Yeah.
correct. And if you want to jump back, right, those things,
Yeah,
then,
that was my question going to be. How do I jump back?
right. Those things are not there. Jump statement is not here. Actually.
Oh, I see. So I can't go back up there.
No. You
So I
can't
have to put a
go.
for loop in it. Uh,
Correct. Yeah, maybe you can use loop if it's false,
Actually,
right?
do while loop has to
Do
be it.
while. So if it's false, then it will do all the things, right?
I see.
So it will be unnecessary, make it complicated
Yeah,
rather
that's
than the
true.
straightforward scenario.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's the question I had. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's the difference of experience, right? I would not have thought of flow chart or the flow decision thing. Instead, I would just
So,
hard coded it with the if statement.
no, because what happens if the people are hard-coded programmer, right?
Mm,
So they will think from that perspective only.
oh, I know.
Okay,
I did a little project yesterday with my friend. So
correct,
the
correct,
biggest
correct.
problem I faced was the fact that I was thinking too technically.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right, right. So people try to think too technically, but ideally this is
yeah.
not that much too technical.
Trust me.
Okay.
I spent an hour trying to figure out how do I make an object of a class, which is
Oh,
not a
oh.
thing. So yeah, that was fun.
Uh, Fine. So can you just put your email address into the group chat? I will forward you to small desktop softwares,
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
and
Where is
even I
this?
will create a email group as well.
Oh, for orchestrator.
Uh, no. This is like just to send the like recordings or any assignments, basically, right?
Mm, there you go.
Hmm. So, Sadie, can you please also share?
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Can you send us the resume as well? The for the
Yeah,
UiPath
sure.
thing.
No
Yeah.
worries. No worries. Whatever you want, you can.
I kind of want to
Uh,
start with the marketing process as soon as possible.
no worries. I will share. Now I got your email ID.
Yeah,
I will share to both of you.
that'd be great.
Okay. So Shafi, are you sharing? You can put into the group chat.
I'm okay. I got it. I was trying to figure it out. I'm not familiar with the Zoom.
Oh, okay. No worries.
So I figured it out. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sharing this link about the. So can you please download and see are you able to launch or not? Because sometimes it will ask to update the dot. framework. So
Mhm.
just check.
What exactly did you send us?
So I have sent the two desktop softwares. Okay. So we need those two desktop software to build automation on a desktop application.
Like virtualware and stuff.
Sorry.
Uh, it's like
No, no, it's like
VMware,
just
right?
normal softwares basically. Okay. So suppose like you can see this is training order one and other one is UI demo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like once we open, right, it will open like
What does it do?
okay, because we should aware, right, how to automate desktop applications, web automations, right? So that is the reason I have these two softwares. So just download it and see it is launching.
Yeah, it's downloading fast. It's taking a minute.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So how does the entry preparation and stuff go with Guruschool?
Okay, so you are asking interview preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so interview preparation basically, right, will tell you like what are the topics you are going to cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, like if you need any mock interviews, we'll take the mock interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, like when interviews are scheduled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then it's from Guruschool, right? Then we'll have JD, right? So we'll prepare you like you have to go through these topics or where you have to focus
Mm-hmm.
before the interview, right? Because what will happen if it's from Guruschool, then like our HR team will get the what we can say all this JD and the important topics from those guys.
Mm.
So we'll tell you according to the client.
I see, I see. And how does the marketing works? Like once I have my resume ready, what happens next? If you know that, or I have to ask somebody
No,
else.
that that is taken care by HR team, Aman.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people are from the like US. Okay, they are in US. So
Yeah, I'm in Canada right now, so that's what I'm asking. Mm. Sorry, it's taking too long for me to
no,
download
no,
all
no,
what's
it
going
will
on.
take, yeah, because this is important to move before.
The same thing is with me, it's taking a little bit time.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So it is asking to install any .NET framework or something like that.
I think 3.0. I'm not sure.
Okay,
I
it
should.
is asking.
Yeah,
I didn't pay attention, but it was asking that it's run
Oh,
on a specific .NET framework.
correct.
okay.
It
Can you
is. I should
share
have
the
it already downloaded, so it should be fine. I have .NET running on this laptop. Mm.
So basically, these are just two like desktop softwares, right?
Mhm.
And here, like, we will have two problem statement on this. One is on training order and other one is on this UID.
What do they do?
Yeah, we'll see that. That is our use case. So that is what, like, once it's ready,
Install 3.5.NET.
or you can share your screen in case any, you know, weird thing if you're observing.
Yeah. Cool. Mm. Mm. All right. I downloaded both.
Yeah.
Okay, so both are set. You are able
Yeah.
to launch.
Yeah, I'm able to
Okay.
launch both of them. I
Okay.
logged into UI demo. Let me log into the other one.
Okay.
Invalid password. What's the password? Oh, it's admin.
Okay, so mine is also good.
Okay. You are also good, Seven.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right. So what we will do now, right? We'll discuss the problem statement. All right. We'll have a what we can say approach. How can we build it, right? And we'll build it tomorrow. Okay, because we have to complete end to end, right? Rather than
Mm-hmm.
just building chunk by chunk. Okay. So I will explain you the use case, right? So we'll talk about this training part, right? So what is the problem statement here? Uh, okay, we are having this input file, right? So you can suppose if there is any organization or department, right? They are getting this input file on a daily basis, okay, or based on the requirement, right? So there are associates available, right? So what those associates will do, like, suppose we can consider, right? They are getting 1,000 records, right? And they are having two resources basically, right? And what two resources will do? They will divide this work, right? For example, then we'll open this Excel file, right? And then they have to do the registration, okay? Or they have to enter this data into this particular software, right? So what associates will do? First, we'll launch the Excel, then we'll go here, we'll we'll launch the application, we'll enter the username, we'll enter the password, we'll click on the sign in, right? So whatever the manual step we are doing, right? Same steps we have to replicate in terms of automation. Okay. Then here we have to add a new order. So they give the option number one, right? And then click on the go. Here we have three options: add new order, view existing order, third one is quit, and click on the go, right? Then we'll get this new orders. So have to take this product code, number required, unit price, cost center, and have to enter here. So this is unit price, sorry, product code, then number required, unit price, 50. Right? Click on the submit. As soon as we click on the submit, right, what will happen? We'll get this screen. From here, we have to capture this order reference number. Okay, so what is their order reference number? 588, right? And then we can click on the continue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what we will do? We'll view, right, the whatever the order we have placed, right? To click on the go, we'll give this 588, click on the retrieve, right? And then we have to close this. Right? We have to close this. We'll close this. And here we'll mention order number, right? Order, basically. Right? right? They will create it and will highlight a order, right? So just imagine what are the actions we have to perform on the first record, right? Same action has to be performed on all the records which are available into the Excel, right? And it will be vary dynamically, right? Today is 1000, tomorrow it might be 800 or more than that, less than that, or any number, right? Now we have to go for the next. Again, we have to follow the same. Click on the go, right? Then take this product code, then number required, then unit price, then cost. Click on the go, right? Now we'll get this one. Again, we will capture this 363 as order number. Click on the go, give the option number 2, go 363, right? Then retrieve it, close it, we can enter. Right? So just imagine we'll follow the same step again and again for each and everything, right? So you can see this is a repetitive process, right? And once everything is done, right, we'll have to give the option number 3, click on the box, so it will get closed, right? So these are the repetitive steps the associates are doing on a daily basis, okay? Doing on a daily basis. But just imagine if the associates are doing this thing daily basis, right? They can do any kind of mistake, right? So suppose if the unit price is 56, right? And if uh, unknowingly, right, if that associates are entering wrong value, right? Then again, whatever the cost difference will be there, right? That has to be there by the organization, right? So these mistakes can be a costly mistakes from the organization point of view, right? So accuracy will be a problem. Right? Second thing, suppose today we are getting 1,000 records and associates are working for 8 or 9 hours, right? So, and we can consider 1 minute they are processing one record, right? So, like 500 records they can divide and they can work, right? But just imagine tomorrow if any of the resources is not available, right? Or if there is a holiday, right? Or weekends where we have to run this process, right? No one will be there. So here we have the human dependence. Next point, uh, like we can see the volume, right? So if there is any peak volume, right? Maybe like today we are getting 1,000 records, but during the peak period we are getting 5,000 records or 8,000 records, right? Or maybe more than that. Then two resources will not able to fulfill this requirement, right? Then organization has to hire new people. They have to do training, onboarding, right? In addition to that, uh, like currently we are having this volume, but just imagine if the volume got reduced again, it is near about 1,000 average, right? Then what those resources will do, right? Also there is a productivity difference between humans are doing and the robots are doing, right? So if the humans are taking 1 minute, right, so robots can do within a 30 second max to max, right? Also, robots will be available 24 by 7, 365 days without breaks, right? Without any vacation, right? Even though humans are working for 8 to 9 hours, right? We'll take tea break, coffee break, lunch break, dinner break, right? But that is not case with the robots. So robots having higher productivity as compared to humans, right? So now we can see this is a repetitive process and have to perform frequently, right? Or we can say on a daily basis. And we can see here it is not dependent on a human, right? Or we don't require any human intervention basically to perform this automation, right? So we can consider now the organization has decided to go for the automation for this process, right? So whenever organizations or any department are going for automation, right? They have to think all the things from all the aspects, right? From the ROI aspects, like how many resources are working, right? It is fruitful or not, how much time it will save, right? How many FT it will save, how many dollar saving will happen, right? At the same time, we have to think like now we have this training order system application, right? It is not changing frequently, or the steps of this process are not changing frequently, right? Suppose if the training order system application is going to change maybe in a month or two, right? Or the steps are changing maybe weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, right? Then obviously it's not a right candidate for automation, right? So before going for automation, we should think about all the aspects, right? So it's not the thing like if it's achievable, then we can go down. Okay,
Right.
clear about problem statement?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have a couple of questions.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, please.
this Excel sheet, where is it, and how do I access it?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So we'll talk about it, right? So currently, whatever we talk about, that is just a manual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just manually. What is the process happening manually, right? And you can see this Excel can come from the email, right? Then we have to download it from the email, basically, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we have to save in a drive, right, at particular folder or location, and from there we have to use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because see, currently it is coming by mail, right? And then the associates will divide 500 in between them, and they will perform, right? But when it will come to automation, right? It should, the process also should be streamlined, right? Where we have to save it, right? How the user will access, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end, uh, once it is automated, right, this file we have to send it to the respective person, or we have to store into the any particular drive or something like that, right? So we should have a proper process to be set up, or the steps should be finalized before going for automation.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about few things, right, before going for automation diagram, right? So this is the process we have discussed, right? So now, from the framework point of view, we'll not start the framework right away, but since beginning we can follow the best practices, right? So we can divide our flow into the three steps or three models, maybe we can say, right? Three main models in it. Okay. Then second one is processing, and third one is a end step. Okay. So what do you mean by init? Init means one-time task at the start of the process. One-time task. Okay. Processing means duplicate task or repetitive task or steps basically. Okay. And end state means one-time task at the end of the process. Right. Even though it is happening manually for automation, at the end it will have the same category. Right. So init, right? Init means what are the one-time things we are doing here during the beginning of the process. So in our process, we can see to launch this application, right? Then we can enter the username, we can enter the password, we can click on the login, right? So this is just one time, even though there are 10 records, 100 records, or 1,000, right? Then uh, read this Excel file, store the data, read all the data, store right into the variable, right? So all the steps we can consider, it will be into the initialization, right? Then processing or repetitive means duplicate task, right? So what is the repetitive thing? We have to give the option number one, click on the go, enter the product code, number required, unit price, right? Submit, take the order number, continue, right? Then view that order, right? Then retrieve it, close it, right? Then write into this Excel file, right? So these are the repetitive tasks, right? So those tasks we have to add under this category as a process, okay? And the third one is a end state, right? So end state means one-time task at the end of the process. So what is the one-time task at the end of the process, right? We can give the option number three. We can click on the go, right? So this is the one-time task at the end of it. Okay. So clear these three bifurcation, innate, processing, and state. Any question doubt?
No.
Okay, clear, right? So most of the statements, right, will fall under this category, right? But when we'll go to the framework level, there will be one more category. Okay, there will be one more category is there, that also we'll see, but time being we can go ahead with this thing, right? Now before implementing it, I want to tell one more, right? So what is the thing? Okay, I will delete it, but you don't delete it, right? You can create a separate one, okay? Because you will have the reference. So suppose if you want to read the data, okay, from the Excel, right? So here you can see, okay, that I will explain, no problem. Now I want to read the data from the Excel, for example, or I want to write the data into Excel. Right? Here we have to do both the options, right? Read and write options we have to do. Correct? So if you want to read the data from the Excel, we have the read range. Okay, we have read range. So you can see here uh, this read range workbook and read range. Okay, so we can just drag and drop. Okay, so by seeing this both, right, what difference we can see? What is the difference between these both two read range?
Sounds like sheet wall.
So we can see here, if you want to read any file, right, we have to give the path, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So here we have that option to give the path, but here we don't,
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
right? So here it will give the message like this activity is valid under Excel applications. Okay, so whenever, so you can see here, this is under workbook, this is under Excel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you will use any activity inside this Excel, okay, then we have to use this Excel applications. Excel application. This, this. Okay. Why we have to use this? Because here we have the option to give the path. So how can we give the path? Right. Suppose we can go here, right? And we can go to the folder where we have our Excel file, right? So we can go to that respective folder and we can select our path like this, right? So that you can see the path will get selected, right? But that is not the case with this read range, right? We can directly browse, we can select the path of that particular file, right? And we can select them, okay?
Correct.
Right? And then here there might be the case like we have multiple sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, right? And you have to take the data from the specific sheet, right? So here we have to provide the sheet name, right? So here we'll mention the sheet. Here by default there is a sheet 1, you can rename it or we can change it, right? Here we have to give, right? Now this is the first difference between read range Excel and read range workbook. So if you want to use uh, read range Excel, we have to use this Excel applications for, but that is not the case with the workbook. We have direct option, right? But at the end, both of the activities are doing the same thing. Okay, both of the activities are doing the same, right? But this is the difference. Then another difference is, what is it? Another difference. Suppose you have to read the data from Excel, you have to write the data into the Excel, but you don't have the Excel application installed in your system, right? So when we'll install the Office package, right, Microsoft Office package, then we'll have Excel, PowerPoint, all the things, right, Outlook, right, all the Microsoft products, Office products,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you don't have the Excel application installed on your system, okay? You don't have the Excel application installed on your, but still you want to read the data, you want to write the data, right? Then we have to use this read range work. This activity will not. Why it will not work? Because as a human, right? If you want to read the data, what we'll do? We'll open the Excel, right? And then we'll read it, right? Same thing is doing by this one, okay? But when it will come to the read range workbook, what will happen? It will run from the background. It will not launch the file. Okay, it will not open it. It will handle it from the back. Okay, and if you go to this read range, right? Here in the output, right, we can give the variable. so that whatever the input we are going to take, it will get stored into this variable. So control K, I will mention there input data. Okay, so you can see based on the activity, it will set up the variable at the back, right? If you want to do it here, then we have to give the variable name. By default, it will create a string, and then we have to change as a data. But that is not the case here. So whatever the data will read from here, it will be stored in a data table, right? Why it will store in a data table? Because Excel is nothing but a data table, right? It is a combination of rows, right, and columns, correct? So it will read all the data at a time, right? And it will store into this way.
So
Okay.
what if we have like very big data? Would it not mess up the speed of it?
No, but see, at the end we have to work on all the records, no? Whatever the data we are receiving, right? We have to work on all the data.
No, so that's what, yeah. So the question is like, is it better to use all the data in one go or break it into chunks?
No. See, it will take all the data, okay? But when it will send it to the application, it will send one by one, no? Row by row,
Hmm.
right? Because how it can send all the data at a time, right? It will just
Mm-hmm.
read all the data. It will store into this variable as a data table. So you can see whatever the data is here, right? This will not, right? This we have to. So it will store this data, all the data in the form of data table.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this will also do the same thing. Okay. Here. Then in case if your Excel having password protected, right, here we have the facility like we can give the like our password, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that while reading the data, right, or we can provide that password basically. Here we can.
Yeah.
Right? In case password is protected. In case there is no password, then that is perfect. Right? So this is the difference between this one and this one. But this is more effective until and unless very uh, explicitly we require this, right? So this one is the best because it will handle from the background, right? So it will improve the performance as well of your
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is for reading. But now suppose you have to read or we have to just work on a top two records, for example, right? Top two records, top four records, right? So we can give the range also. So suppose I want to work on a top two records, so the range will be A1 to D3, right? So we can go here, open in advanced certificate here. We can do like A1 to D3, for example. We can do range also. So what it will do, it will not read all the records. It will read only top two records. Okay.
Can we do the same
Similarly,
with the read range?
correct. So same case we can add here, right? So this is about read range. Similar way, we have write range to write into the Excel. So
Mm-hmm.
write range, right? Write range workbook. Okay. So this is workbook and this is write range from the Excel. So that also the very similar. So here you can see here also we don't have uh, path, right? We don't have the option to give the path. Here we have the option to give the path, right? So that also we have to add into the Excel application, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we have to give the sheet name in which sheet we want to write, right? And this is a reference point from where you want to start writing. Okay, this is starting point. Okay, and beyond it can go to anywhere, right? But this is starting point. If you don't give it here, right, by default it will take from the A1. Okay, by default, right? So if you have any particular thing like if you want to, so here we have to start writing from E1, right? So here we
Mm-hmm.
have to give E1, E1, right? Here also we have to give E according, and here we have to give sheet name, right? But here we have to give the path of the file, sheet name, and here it will take input as a data table. See, data table. It will not take any other file by using this vector, right? So it required a data table. It is
Mm-hmm.
already mentioned, right? So we'll see how can we write into the how can we write this data table into this right range as in the exam. Okay. So what we will do, right, during the tomorrow's session, right, we'll implement this in, okay, end to end. We'll finish it tomorrow, because if we start now, right, we'll not able to finish it, right? So
Mhm.
what we can do tomorrow, we'll finish this end to end. So, clear? Clear so far? Any question, any doubt? Hope my speed is good for you, or it is too fast, it is too slow. Accordingly, you can live. Okay. Hope like you understood whatever we have discussed, and it might happen, right? Something might be repetitive for you, okay? Because
Mhm.
you both are a little aware about this, right? But that was required basically, right? So that we can get some context to be said. Now onwards,
Yeah, no,
we'll have, okay.
yeah, no,
So
this was good.
yeah,
It was just the right mix of, oh, this is kind of common knowledge as a programmer versus, oh, this is a niche thing you might just not know, like the
correct, correct.
flow decision and stuff like that. Like I didn't know jack about it. I was gonna use if statements,
Okay.
so I think that was really good.
Correct, correct, correct. So we'll see a lot of new things, right? And see, when we'll work with the programming, right, we have some limitations as well, right, in terms of
Mm,
uh, technical depth and all, right? But here, the things are very smooth, okay,
mm,
most of the times. We'll face some challenges also, because yes, nothing is simple, right? So
yeah.
we'll have other challenges as well. So I have such type of example as well, where we'll have a lot of challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because until and unless we are not get challenged, right, we'll not come to know how to overcome those, right?
Yeah.
So I have such examples where we'll get a lot of challenges in terms of applications, all right, application handling. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll take such example as well. Okay.
Nice.
So maybe as a day one, right, we can stop here, right, and
Yeah.
we can continue tomorrow.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Fine, fine, Sabi.
Thank you.
yeah, great. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow, what
So
time are we thinking?
same time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good. Or do you want to make it 11 or something?
No, no, it's all right. Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Okay. So, what about Sabi? I think Sabi was having. That is what I'm asking, Sabi.
Yes, I think yeah, if we start 10:30 and that's fine. If we go for like
Okay, that's fine. Right, 10:30. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
sounds
Perfect,
good.
Sabi. No worries.
Thank you.
Right. So we'll continue tomorrow then.
sure.
So
Sounds
thank you,
good.
Aman.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah, thank
Sabi.
you.
Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah,
Okay. See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
yeah.
Have a
Thank
good one.
Thank you. Bye bye.
you. Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.